Today's lesson, we're going to share with you Arnold Schwarzenegger's achievement trick for attaining excellent health. You might be wondering, why would we pick Arnold Schwarzenegger? Well, if you look at this fella, he was able to take from almost a horrible background and horrible conditions, he had a funny name, to be able to achieve not only become Mr. Universe, but apply those characteristics to building his body, to building his business, becoming a famous politician, and becoming one of the world's most famous actors. The key is reverse engineering for success. So years ago, when I first started out, most people look at my titles and stuff and they don't realize that I came from very humble beginnings. And I used Arnold as my first mentor. And I encourage you to pick someone that really resonates and inspires with you. Someone that you envision becoming, or you admire, or characteristics that you want to develop, and learn everything you can about them. And that was one of Arnold's secrets. He built himself a mentor, and he created that mentor to be able to teach him principles. It's kind of like Charlie Munger says, you don't have to learn from your own mistakes. It's much better to learn from other people's mistakes. And what we're going to do is we're going to share with you how to take your goals. So first and foremost, decide what it is that you want to achieve. Do you want to become more healthy? Do you want to lose 10 pounds? Do you want to experience unlimited levels of health and vitality? Whatever it is, pick what that is and find the person or people that represent that to become your mentors. The other thing is you want to start with the end in mind. So what that means is you create your vision, which is right here, okay? This is your vision, kind of like the top level of health. This is your top level, your ideal case. So this is you envision what it is that you want and build that picture in your head so that you're very clear. This is kind of like your focus point. This is what gets you up early. This will get you through this course. This will also drive you by keeping you focused on your goals and being sure that you don't go through the trips and traps that people get caught up in with distractions. And in today's world, there's more distractions than ever. Now, of course, I was introduced to this program years ago, and one of the things that he talked about was sets and reps. In order to achieve anything, it's not about just doing something once. I mean, think about it. If you wanted to build your biceps, you can't go to the gym once and expect that your biceps are going to be perfect. You're going to have to go hours and hours and hours. And there's been a lot of scientific research around this. And of course, I think everybody's heard about the 10,000 hours to achieve that success. But here's something that you really want to learn. It's been discovered that you can achieve a level of competency in just 20 hours. Imagine this. By putting just 20 hours into this with focused energy, you're going to develop the habits that will lead you to your ultimate goal. And that's the goal of this course. We're here to teach you the habits so that you start developing healing, health, high performance, whatever it is you're looking for, automatically. In other words, you don't have to think about doing it. You just do it. And that's why we're stepping this out. We're setting up the sets, the reps, the exercises that have led thousands and thousands of people just like you to success. It's worked for me, and it's going to work for you. So imagine this. This is your focus point. Now, underneath that base, by the way, just so you know, I love pyramids. I don't know why, but I just do. It's one of those things. Under here is your habits. So this is what you do on a daily basis. And one of the most empowering things that you can get or into your head or to understand is that your habits are controlling where you're at right now. So for example, if you're, fat and out of shape, well, that's part of your habits. If you're in shape or, at a fitness level of an Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's because the habits. It's not so much on skills or genetics. It's about what are you doing in your process or on your daily basis. And then how well have you integrated that so that it's automatic. In other words, you don't have to think about it. And here's the beauty of this. Your brain is so powerful. I mean, think about it. Do you have to think about eating? Of course not. You automatically plan out breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You go with friends. It's an automatic process. And that's what we're going to teach in this. Focus, habits, and then you're going to stick with it long enough that it becomes automatic, that you don't have to think about it. Now, of course, you're going to go through 4 distinct stages. Now, these stages, when you start out, the first few lessons in the first few weeks are, frankly, they're going to be a little bit tough. They're going to be doing some things or trying some things that might feel a little weird or seem kind of silly, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. This is to be expected. This is called the unconsciously incompetent stage. In other words, you don't know that you don't know. A lot of people have come to me over the years and said, Wade, I want to be fit, or I want to be healthy, or I want to have endless energy. And I'm like, okay, well, you're going to have to learn a few things. And oftentimes the media has kind of made it so, oh, it's so easy. You just do this 10-day transformation or lose 10 pounds. Or if you read the Inquirer or these magazines or little things, it's like the one thing. I'm going to share with you right now. It's not the one thing. It's a series of little things that you do consistently over time, the sets and reps, the 10,000 hours. But you're going to be able to integrate this over the course of these 84 lessons. And so it's going to become the highest level of competence, that it's automatic. So the first stage is called unconsciously incompetent. You don't know that you don't know. And frankly, a lot of marketers take advantage of people. And it really bothers me when I see these advertisements that kind of convince people of ideas that really don't work. The second stage, you're going to move into consciously incompetent. So as you start learning the principles that we're going to share here, you're going to discover that some things are going to feel, well, I'm not used to it. I'm going to do some breathing exercise and drinking water and all these different things that we're going to talk about. You're going to love it. And it's going to feel kind of weird at first, or you're going to have to put some thought into it. In other words, you realize, oh, I don't usually normally do this. So at very first, expect that stage where you're just going to kind of bumble along. That's okay. The important thing is to be comfortable with this. And this, by the way, is the most difficult stage. So again, I want to encourage you to stay with the lessons and continue to do them. Don't quit on yourself. Don't give up. And for some reason, if you go away from it a little bit, get right back on it and start over, because you're going to be able to use these lessons over and over, restart. Sometimes failure is okay. You know, you've skipped something or things got in the way. Don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up. I want you to get used to giving yourself credit for what you've done and continue to practice until it becomes that automatic. The next stage that's going to happen is you're going to be at what's called consciously competent. In other words, you're at a certain time in this process over these 84 lessons, you're going to get to a stage where you're going to know what to drink. You're going to know what to eat. You're going to know the exercises that work for you. You're going to have a routine, but it's not quite automatic. In other words, you don't wake up doing this automatically. And that stage is, you start to see momentum. You start to see the energy happen. You start to feel what's going on inside your body. And that's what I find is people start getting excited. They start to see their waistline a little better, or they start to see a few muscles, or they start noticing they're sleeping less and feeling more energized, or they're finding themselves that they're not as stressed out as they used to be before. This is the magic stage, and I really love this part. And then finally, you're going to set into what I call the unconsciously competent stage, and that means you don't even have to think about it. And that's what my goal is for you, and it's what your goal needs to be for yourself, because the idea is that you don't have to waste energy thinking about it. And that's why we've broken this down step by step, sequence by sequence, to give you the most value with the least amount of effort in the shortest amount of time. And probably to run through this whole course, it might be a total of 20 hours. In those 20 hours, we're going to teach you exactly what to do so that you can just continue to go on without putting any effort into all. So I want you to go back to this just one more time to recap. Figure out what it is that your ultimate level is going to be. That's your focus point. Recognize that your habits are going to determine where you're going to go. We're going to show you those habits. And then finally, recognize you're going to go through those 4 stages of competency until you get to the automatic zone, or the auto magic, as I like to say. So that's the lesson today. For your homework, I'd like for you to really sit down, take 5, 10, maybe even 15 minutes, and really build your vision of the future. Really think about what you want to do. And I want to share with you one other thing is also look at what happens if I don't do this? What happens if I don't put the time and effort into? Recognize that both of those components are really important so that you can get leverage on yourself. The reality is we tend to move away from pain and move towards pleasure. So make it out in your mind that not doing this is going to be more painful than the transitory stage of moving into that super pleasure zone when you're living at the highest level of physical vitality. So that's your lesson for today. We'll see you tomorrow on the next lesson.